the city council were to take action. But at this point, we're going forward. The department has made a decision to take adverse license action against Mr. Khan for the reasons that are in the record. And I think it's limited to that as how we're proceeding at this point.
Mr. Vice Chair?
Yes, Mr. Fussy.
I would like to add, in addition to what Mr. Wolf said, that the city is certainly very familiar with the requirements of the Fair Housing Act and the anti-discrimination laws and statutes and requirements, and specifically with regard to rental housing and these sorts of issues. We've litigated them in the past successfully. We would expect to do so again in this case, and in general, we believe that this action furthers the goal of fair housing.
Thank you, Mr. Fussy. Thank you. So I am going to go ahead and move the staff recommendation, which is the revocation of rental licenses for the 42 properties listed in the staff report. And before I give my comments, do any of my colleagues wish to speak to the item? Councilmember Reich?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just want to make one observation. I think it's imperative that when we have clear parameters of how to proceed with something, that deviating would be the civil rights abuse. That would be capricious, no matter how good the argument, good actors doing good things, even if we assume that were true, however persuasive in terms of emotional appeal to why we would go to extraneous considerations for the matter before us. That would be a deviation, I think, that would be actually more harmful to the process of fair housing in the long run. And so I'm glad that we were able to focus on what we have before you, and really commend you as a chair to keep us focused. Thanks.
Thank you, Council Member. Before I take the vote, I'll comment just briefly. The property summaries that we've been looking at and reviewing, they show that the properties have generated 1,390 requests for service from the department, requiring a total of 2,246 site visits by the housing inspectors. The site visits resulted in 1,016 violation letters being sent to the owner, listing 3,550 violations at the property. Mr. Khan was issued 61 administrative citations for work that had not been completed in the time frame set out by the department. 32 of Mr. Khan's 42 licensed properties were in the department's abate list when the department reviewed Mr. Khan's properties. 357 rubbish disorders, 258 grass and shrub orders. In the last 2 years, 52 warning letters were for dirty solid waste collection sites were issued on Mr. Khan's properties, with 41 build cleanups being completed by Minneapolis Division of Solid Waste and Recycling. And I can go on. That's just a small portion. The amount of staff time, money spent, and effort that has been given simply to deal with this one property owner's parcels has been extensive, to say the least. And it detracts not just from the neighborhood, the surrounding neighbors, and the rights of the property owners to live in completely habitable and up-to-par conditions, but it also detracts from our city's resources in carrying out their inspection services in the rest of Minneapolis. So with that, I will move the staff recommendation, which is to revoke. All those in approval, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed, please say no. And that motion has passed. Councilmember Goodman.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Chair. There are no items in front of us remaining on our agenda that have not been heard today. Are there further comments or questions? Seeing none, the committee will stand adjourned. Hello.